Hey guys, Nikki Kempel here. I will be your WOD coach for Friday, August 29th, 2014. Today I want to talk to you about something that Danny McDaniels spoke to us about at leadership. He had talked to us about always being prepared and always having your tools. And by tools, we're talking about our Spark, our Impact magazine, tagged off nonetheless, and our Solutions for Success DVD. So I want to tell you a story about something that happened to me and use it as a learning tool. The other day I went for a walk and I was walking and I ran into this gentleman and we got talking, and he was telling me how he was a teacher and he has his principal's certificate, but he doesn't want to be a teacher or a principal for that matter anymore, but he can't quit or retire because he's got 4 kids, 2 of them are in college, and he's got 2 more going through the ranks. So he had asked me what I did, and I said to him, oh, I do Advocare. And he's like, what's Advocare? So we got to talking, and of course, the one day that I'm out and about and don't have my tools is the one day I needed them. So we went our separate ways, and the next day, or I'm sorry, a couple days later, where I was out walking again, and I ran into him. And with a big smile on my face, and he had a big smile, he seemed really happy to see me, so we got to talking again. He's like, oh, so glad to see you, how are you doing, blah, blah, blah. So we were talking, and I said, I'm really glad I got to run into you again today. I said, the other day when we were talking about Advocare, I wanted to give you something, and I just didn't have it with me, and I'm so glad we ran into each other. I said, this is Spark, and he was like, well, Spark, what's that? So, I gave him a little idea of what Spark was, and he was really excited about it. And then I said to him, you know what, do you have a couple minutes? And he said, sure. So we sat down and we went through the Impact magazine, and being that I have it all pre-marked, I was able to open right up and say to him, these are our guiding principles, and talk about that. He's also a coach, and he didn't understand, how our products were made, so he wanted to make sure they were safe. So, we have a scientific and medical advisory board, and I was able to talk to him about that. And then, from our previous conversation, I was able to share with him about Brandon and Kathy Ife's story, and I have that marked off. So make sure you have this magazine, and make sure you're marking off the things that you want to make sure you talk to people about. We have an awesome edition of the Impact magazine because we have Brandon and Kathy, and Todd and Maggie are in the magazine. Last issue, James Rudder was in it. Use that. You can tell people you know these people personally. You talk to these people on a daily basis. And it's amazing how when you can point to that person and say, I know that person, I know their struggles, I know what they've gone through, I know where they are, I know where they've come from. People really connect with that, and they enjoy hearing those stories. And I also told them to take a look at the CD and watch some of the stories. Now, granted, it wasn't a normal conversation, and it wasn't the way you normally would want to always use them, but the moral of the story is make sure you have these things with you. The other thing I want to touch on is before we split paths this time, the second time that we talked, I turned around and I said to him, you know what, Tom? I said, why don't you give me your phone number, and I'll follow up with you in a couple days, and I set an appointment right then and there on the spot. And I told him, I will call you and see how you like that Spark. Don't be afraid to say that to people, and say it with conviction and with power and with strength, because people appreciate that. The other thing I want to just touch on real quick, because we're going into Labor Day weekend and Advocare weekend, we have a huge weekend ahead of us. Advocare put a lot of money into 4 new commercials, and if you weren't at Success School, you missed out on the preview of them, but you're going to see them all over. They're going to be on 21 new channels this year, FYI, Food Network channel, so many different, ABC Family, so many different channels. So you want to make sure that you're keeping an eye out for those commercials. Also, Saturday you have the Texas Kickoff, the Advocare Texas Kickoff. It's going to be LSU versus Wisconsin on ESPN. You have the Advocare Cowboy Classic on ABC. It's FSU versus OSU. And down in Atlanta, the Speedway, there's going to be a big NASCAR race. So you want to make sure that people know about that. You also want to know that the Advocare Cowboy Showdown is Texas versus UCLA on the 13th of September. So we have some huge games coming. Football season is starting. You're going to see these commercials all over the place. So you want to make sure that everybody knows that you do AdvoCare. So when they see these commercials, when they see the word AdvoCare, when they see all those champions out there doing what they do best, that they think of you and that they're going to come back to you, because you want people to know when you hear AdvoCare, think of me. Okay? Now, I'm not saying to go and plaster that all over Facebook, every day for the next 4 days, but what I'm saying is, if you're going to put a post about it on Facebook, great, do it. But make sure you're actually talking to people too. Don't just rely on the social media. So the moral of today's WOD, remember your tools, your Spark, your Success DVD, and your Impact Magazine. And don't forget about all of the awesome commercials that are going to be on TV, all the awesome football games that they're sponsoring. So with that, I hope you guys have a safe, wonderful weekend. Get out there, do the work, and make sure everybody knows you do AdvoCare, guys. Have a great day.